Hello and welcome to Code and Me. Today we will talk about test classes in Salesforce. As I have already told you in the previous video that we will talk about the trigger test classes and the test classes. What is the use of test classes in the Salesforce? Why we write test classes and how to write test classes for trigger. We will discuss about it today. So what do you mean by test class? As the name suggests, we have, if we want to test something, if we want to do some testing, we will create a test class. But in Salesforce we always write some trigger, we always write some controller. That controller can be as an custom controller, or as a batch class, or you can say email class, or you can say as a helper class, or you can say a utility class, or you can say it can be also a extension, controller extension. So for any class or any trigger we need a test class, and that test class will inspect and test the functionality and the logic of that class or that trigger. What do you mean by inspect the functionality? Because we know that if I have written this code will work like that. So that what we will do, we will insert, we will work exactly the same thing in the test class, and then after the same thing that class will execute, and that will give you that okay, your code is working or not. But the real question is, what do you mean by test class? Or the real question is, what is the use of test class? Because if we know that this trigger is for account and contact creation, suppose this is the trigger that will create the contact for that account, so we can test it by using the new button, new account click, and then we will click, we will insert the record, and after the save button it will automatically create the contact. If it will create, you can see that okay, yeah, it's working. So why do we need that test class? Salesforce always wants a new thing. Salesforce has give a limitation for the better approach for a developer and for the reliability of a customer. So if we have written any any classes or any trigger in the Salesforce sandbox organization, we cannot deploy it until we have not written the test class, and that test class must cover the code coverage of 75%. So test class in Salesforce, test class is needed for any Salesforce classes and any Salesforce trigger. For any trigger and for any classes, we always need a test class with 75% code, at least 75% code coverage. Then only and only we can deploy that class and trigger into the production. So if you want to move anything, any class or any trigger to production, from sandbox to production, we have to write a test class that must cover the 75% code coverage for all of the above classes or trigger. So the use of test class is to move the classes and trigger from sandbox to Salesforce with at least 75% code coverage. Okay, so now the question is, what is the benefit of test class? So first benefit of test class, that it gives you the high quality code coverage, high quality of code. It will also give you the high quality of trust from the customer, that okay, because it is already tested, so you can easily believe on that controller or on that trigger, because we have tested it with different true and false condition, with every logic, that what when that code will fail, when that code will pass, when that code will not fail, when that code should fail. Every condition is already there in the test class, and that have tested that class or trigger. So this is the most wonderful benefit of test class in Salesforce. Now for the test class, we have to follow some certain rules. For the first time, in the test class we always use annotation with the name of I will tell you about that. And for the test class we also what we exactly do. Suppose if it is working on an object like account, so we will insert an account that will not commit into the database. I repeat the same word again, that we will insert, if that trigger is working on contact or account, we will insert a record in the account and contact that will not commit to the database. It will work like okay, it is inserted, but it will not go to your original account record. It will not commit to the database. Okay, so that's how that will works, and we just have to use that. Suppose, and how it is working, exactly what it is doing, we have to check that. Okay, one thing. So now suppose this is a trigger, and what it is doing, it is just updating the records, that if the type is prospect, it should be the type, and the type should, if the type is prospect, the type custom type will be active. If the type is not prospect, the custom type will be inactive. And again it is also working like okay, if the type is active and before that it was not an active, so active field should be yes, and active field should be no. If it is active, active field should be yes or no. So how we will check it? By our UI or our custom UI interface, we will create one thing. Suppose we will use this, okay, and then we will choose this prospect, and then we will update it. Okay, and then it will give you the error like that it should be something like that. What is the error? That invalid data, active field should be yes, so we will do that yes, and then we will update it. Okay, so what happened exactly? The trigger work. Okay, here you can see a new trigger also. So now we can check that there was also a trigger. So now account has created, the prospect is there, type is prospect, and the type is active. Okay, it is prospect and it is active. That's what we have checked in this trigger, that if it is prospect, it should be active, and active should be yes also. So that you can say that active is yes here. Okay, so how we have checked? We just have we have created the field, we have created the account record, and then we have checked okay, that is the error, that that type is working, or that is working like that. Okay, so we can do that testing in the test class also. Okay, so we will write a test class for this. First of all, we will write a test class. So new apex class, new apex class, and the test class name, will be test update type trigger. So it is a test class, so this will okay. Now because it is a test class, so it is a notation for test class is test. This is a test class notation. You can also write that in space of this, you can also write this method, but it is the old method, so we use is test because we cannot pass the parameter. So now this nowadays this is working, so no problem at all. So this is the test class, and this is, and in that test class we need a method is test. It will not work, it will not be show to the it will not show, it will only run. So we need this that purpose. Okay, so private, we do not need to do it as a private or public, so we do not need to any. Okay, now is test, and then void method, and this method should be static, of type static void, and the method name, so suppose method name is test, met1 test1. Suppose this method is test1, and in this method we will run everything. Okay, so what have done by UI, we have done for this, how we have checked, we just created an account and then we have checked okay it's working or not. So what I will do, I will do the same thing. I will create an account, and how we will create an account, we have to make an instance account AC, then new account. So that's we can now this class can understand okay an account is an account will be created or account will be used. So now we can use AC, because AC is the instance name of account, so AC can be used, AC dot, and we have to give the name, so AC dot name is equal to, and we will give the name anything, test save test. It will not go to the commit to the database, I have told you already, save test, and then AC dot, now what, AC dot, sorry, AC dot type, you use this type, that is insert prospect. Okay, now we will insert it, insert AC. Okay, okay, and we will do, okay, now we will use how it will goes. Then because it is test class, you can see that that is a run test, so you can use it run test. We can check it here, it will give you an error, I guess. It is a test class and it will give you the error. What is the error? As you already know, you already know that what is the error. Error is insertion failed, and the error is active should be yes, because this error is here. Okay, you already know that this error is here, active should fill be yes. Okay, so that error is working here. And how to bypass this, we can use this using try method. So first of all, we do not need, we need for that only. So suppose if I will comment it, I will tell you how it can go. I will just do it once. Okay, now update type. Okay, now then I will now if I will insert it, now if I will run it, it will work and it will give you the 100% test coverage. One second, let's minimize this. Okay, run test. After the running test synchronously, now it is test run. And how we can check that, we can check that by code coverage. Click here 75%, because only one account is created and this type is prospect, so account type is active, so it is working. But for else it is not working. So how we will do it, we can do, we will create a new account type, and then this, and then this type will be 1. And because if the type is not prospect, then we can so we will test for second type also, this type SC1. Okay, and now after the saving, test update, again running test. Now it is test successful, it is not failure. Now we can check it is 100%. Okay, so it is 100%. So first of all, the first account is created and it has a type of prospect, so ac.type is active. Okay, now it's working. And then else, if the second account is created but its type is not prospect, it is nothing, so this is created and this inactive is created. Okay, but now here two DML operation we have used, insert, so we do not need this again and again, so we will use AC. So first of all, we will create a list of account because we need some account, because some of the best practice that we have to create at least 20, 30 and 200 accounts, or any maximum record to test okay this is working or not. So SCL, this means SC list new, suppose new list account, we will add it ACL dot add bracket, AC will be added, then ACL dot add AC1 will be added, and now we will insert once, for only one insertion ACL, that list we will insert that list. Okay, so one DML operation and now it will work. Okay, run test. Now it's working. Okay, so that's how it works. It is 100% coverage, no problem. We can also check the update type here. Update type, you can see here rest here, this is here update type, and the update type is 1 second. You can see here update type is 100%. Okay, so you can see here also. So now for this part, for the error part, how we will do it, because when it is not okay, it will always throw an error. So for that throw an error, we have to use try and catch here. So what we will do, we will use try, that maybe it will insert or maybe it will not insert, so we will use try will use always to use that if there is an error, so try will not use, and it will always be when to catch. Okay, so we can see that if this insert will not work, if it will throw an error, because you have already seen that for that test class that was not working. Okay, let's comment it, let's comment. Okay, let's comment it, and then we can see that Control S, if, and now Control S, and now if it is comment, if it is not comment, sorry, yeah, if it is not comment, and now if I will run this, it will give me an error. Okay, that test class is not pass. Okay, it will give me an error that test class is not passed, and that error is same as, you can see here, the same error is here. Active field should be yes, and the error is here, as you can see that error is here. Okay, active field should be yes. Okay, so for that purpose we need to do this try, that okay, because it's failed, so we will use try, and then we'll also use catch. Okay, so if this try will not work, it will goes to catch. Okay, and now how we will check that it is exactly the same thing or not? So system dot assert equal, so assert equal will work only when so because it will give you an error, so we just want to check that error, and the actual is also the same error, because you know that, because it will give you always the same error again. Sorry for that. So suppose this is the start. Okay, so now if we will run it, now it is pass, and now we can see here also this is p, sorry, qrst, yes, t, update type is 100%. So when we click in that, okay, now it's working. So 100% test coverage, this means every condition is working, every logic is working, for fail condition, for error condition, for not condition, for every condition. Now it's working. Okay, now the second part is create contact. Okay, in that create contact, what we need to do, what this code is working, that this code is working for every count. If the number of contact is there, it will create a contact. Okay, so this is only we have to do it. Okay, so what we will do, we will create a class. Okay, so now you can see that for that we will create a class. So create contact is there, and we have already created a test class, that is okay, test create count, the same name, and that method is test1. So the same thing is here, is test, the method name, the static type, this. Now because I want to create multiple accounts, so I will use list, then account AC, the name is there. Always remember, every required field of any object should we have to create. So in the account, you know that only required field is AC dot account, you know that. So the only required field is account, you can see here the only required field is account, so we need only account. Okay, and because we also want number of contact, so we need number of contact also. Okay, so if we will give number of contact 2, okay, then we can also use new count account AC 1 new account, and then AC 1 dot name is equal to AA, and then AC L dot add AC 1, and then insert AC. Okay, now we can, this is the, now that same thing, and now if we will run it, it will cover this. Okay, it has failed, and why it is failed, you know that it has failed because the same trigger is working on that also. So once, so let's do one thing, inactive the trigger. So one thing you have to remember, that please do not write multiple trigger for an object. Please do not write multiple trigger for an object, remember this word. And if you have written this type of trigger, so for that purpose you just have to use helper class, that we will give you the thing. So please do not write again. Okay, so update type is giving me an error, so what I will do, I will inactive it. Okay, now I will run it, then it should not give any error. Now the same error is here. Okay, now what is the problem, let's see, maybe some issues here. Create contact execution of after insert, attempt to re-reference a null object, line 5. So now something is problem. Now number of contact, because it is working after insert and after update, so it's not working correctly, because before insert, so this condition will work only when if it is an update, if it is an update condition. So this will work only for update condition. If when it will work, trigger dot is update. This is also a command, trigger dot is update. If it is trigger dot is update, then it will goes like this. Okay, if or because this is the first condition for this trigger, or if this is trigger dot insert, so we do not need to check the trigger dot is insert. I know I am taking so much time, but this is the last, so we do not need to worry about that. Okay, so this is the trigger, I think. So if this trigger is working on update, so we have to check the old value and the new value. If trigger is new, so it will work like that. Okay, so now if now we will test it, it will not give you an error. Okay, so we can see that this is now okay, and we can see the code coverage. Code coverage is 100% in a single time, because it was insert and it has worked. Okay, and it has give you the 100% coverage. That last one, that is industry department, in which what we have to do, if the account industry was something and that same is for contact department, it will update the account. So what we need to do, we just need to create an account and a contact with the same department name, and it will check everything. Okay, now for the industry department type, we have created this test class. This is test industry department, and this is account, because I have already told you that we have to insert an account and we have to create a contact. Okay, but in that account we need an industry, because industry and department should match. So we need an industry, and industry must be of type the same. Suppose this has an industry of anything, the simple one, icons, energy, like this energy. Okay, so because it's a pick list, so we have to take the same value, because pick list will take only that value that is there. So energy, but this name should be different, but the pick list value should be the same. And that's c dot department. If c dot department is also energy, then now it will work. But what I think, so I have to do something like for contact also. So what I will do, I will create a list. Okay, so what I created a list and then a contact with the department name energy, because industry is energy, and the new contact, the again second contact with the department, different department, and now I have inserted it, so it should cover all the things. Okay, now I used save, and then I will run it. Okay, and now this will work. Okay, one thing, the comma is separated here. Okay, and the same thing is here. Okay, 1 2 3 4. Now I'm running it. After the running test synchronously, we can check that industry department will at least have coverage of something 46%, you can say that. So there is some issues. Okay, so because this was before update, the same error was there. Okay, so same like update and insert was the issue. So I will use again run test, and now it will cover everything. Okay, because this was insertion, we can use the update also. So this was an insertion, and now it's working because it does not cover anything. Okay, how? Okay, so something is missing. So as you can see that this has only 61% test coverage. So what I will do, I will create first of all a contact with some this you can relate to finance. Okay, so now the contact is there. We have created the contact, then we have created the account is insert, and that insert will call this trigger, and this trigger will check that industry is not industry is there or not. If industry is there, then this will go to contact. So what was the problem at that time? Because when I have used this command insert AC, at the same time this command is not created because this was below that account. So we have to create first of all the contact, then account, because after the insert it will call, and after the insert it will call and fetch the contact, but that contact is not from database. That contact from there bucket that is not inserted because it was from the below, it was there. Okay, you can see that it was there. So this was below, it has not inserted. So we did what we did this. Okay, now contact is there, two contact is there, and one is already energy. So it will check from here, and then this will work, and this will work, and everything will work. Okay, so how it is working or not, let's run test, and now we can see test coverage is 100%. Okay, so how we can check that how many number of contact we have created? Okay, so for that purpose, or how many contact contact account ID we can check. If you want to check how many contact ID is there, so we can use system.assert equal, and in that assert equal we will query that. Okay, so we can do that. Okay, we will query that, select this and this, system.assert equal, or you can say, okay, we can query this contact. So normally we don't do that, so we can check that using query and system.assert equal. We will tell you about that because now it has so much time, so we will not discuss it about. Okay, so that's what all about the test class and the best practice and class for triggers. So I have created 3 trigger and 3 test class for all of that, so we can use that type things. So please like and subscribe our video and channel. Please comment us if any questions you have. Please follow us on our Facebook and LinkedIn. This is Saf from Code and Me. Thank you for watching. I'm taking so much time, but the test class is very important in Salesforce. Come and visit us at coderinme.com. Thank you, Saf.